to cushion COVID-19 impact on economy. CBN unveils measures to cushion COVID-19 impact on economy. Comfort for Obaseki postponed. Oshomole survives as appeal court freezes suspension order. So comfort for Obaseki postponed. Oshomole survives as appeal court suspends freezes suspension order. That's also in this day newspaper. These are the stories that perhaps we'll have to run through real quickly. There's this here. Kanu Assembly suspends 5 lawmakers over Sanusi. That's also in the this day newspaper. Kanu Assembly suspends 5 lawmakers over Sanusi. And why APC should embark on frank self-examination. Why APC should embark on frank self-examination. How Oshomole mystified minor deities in APC. How Oshomole demystified minor deities in APC. So if this is a minor deity, does that mean there are major deities in APC?
Maybe Oshomole himself is a major deity.
And then NERC must punish discos for load rejection, says TCN. NERC must punish discos for load rejection, says TCN. All right, let's get to the stories proper. And I've got this one here that says comfort for Obaseki postponed. Oshomole survives as appeal court freezes suspension order. And it says here that relief came yesterday for the embattled national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Mr. Adams Oshomole, as the Court of Appeal granted his application for stay of execution of the ruling of a Federal Capital Territory High Court suspension, which came earlier this month. The judicial relief came moments after President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC governors agreed at a meeting in the presidential villa Abuja to suspend the National Executive Committee meeting scheduled for today, effectively putting in abeyance to push to oust Oshomole. For Oshomole's chief adversary, Edo State Governor Mr. Godwin Obaseki, the two developments disrupted his desire to ease the national chairman out of office in the hope that it will smoothen his way back to the governorship of his state. National chairman's current travails arose from his protracted quarrel with his erstwhile ally and state governor over the control of the state branch of the party, which the latter insisting that the former should bow to him. With the governorship primaries of Edo State in sight, the struggle for the soul of the party has become intense because whoever controls the APC structure in the state and has contact at the National Secretariat will have an upper hand. Oshomole's suspension, said an analyst, had given Obaseki the upper hand, and had the next meeting held today, it is unlikely the national chairman would have survived. The political and judicial developments yesterday would appear to have shifted the balance of forces in Oshomole's favor, discomforting Obaseki, who had hoped to see the back of his former mentor. You know, something just smells, I don't want to say fishy here. Something just smells. Anyways, let me use that. It smells. They had a meeting with the president yesterday, and the plan was they were going to have a next meeting today. And before the meeting, the appeal court postponed judgment. And they didn't give any cogent reasons why they had to postpone. As far as I'm concerned, the reasons were cogent enough to postpone. You are ready. Why not go ahead with the processes? Somehow it just seemed to me like buying time. You know, let's get a feel of what the meeting with the president will be like. Then we can come up with our judgments. Now, I'm not saying the judgment was bought or not, but I'm just saying it just didn't sit right. Why didn't the appeal court go ahead with its pronouncement, regardless whether a meeting was to be had with the president in the much later hours of the day? And then immediately after that meeting was over and done with, the appeal court was ready now to pass judgment or to give judgment. And for me, it just seems like for Obaseki, somebody played a fast one. Look, okay, this is how I'm trying to mediate in this matter. Let's calm down. Let's look at this. Let's not have a neck meeting. Everything will be okay. It seemed the two areas where Obaseki perhaps could have had the upper hand, somebody was quick enough to take that away from him. So he conceded and agreed with the other APC governors in not having a neck meeting today, and hoping that, well, we'll just ride out time and see what this happens, what happens eventually. And the next thing they hear, the appeal court says, well, Shobolek is not suspended. Manuel, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah. In fact, on the front of appeal court, it was expected what happened. It is said that appeal court had endorsed what the lower court had said, or indeed come up with the kind of verdict it did. But for, you see, Obaseki, you see, in a context of this nature, you cannot have the way always. Sometimes it's completely pregnant with successes and failure. Now you record some successes, you record also some, maybe even if not failure, some setbacks. That's exactly what seemed to have happened to Obaseki. But one thing I believe very frankly, all the APC stalwarts and the stakeholders, they know whether Obaseki Oshomole is leading the party in the right way. And I must tell you, whether it's appeal court or whatever, if he is not leading the party in the right way, this, of course, what happened in the appeal court will just amount to postponing the evil day. Remember one thing, let it be ringing that an evil day must certainly come.
All right, we got your thoughts on that, Emmanuel Nukwe. I've also got with me here Dr. Robinson Monde Olulu. He's the head economics department, University of Port Harcourt. Great to have you here, Dr. Olulu. Let's have your thoughts here.
Good morning, Annie. Good morning, Nigerians. Well, I think what happened is a temporary relief. I think so, because I know what politics is. Now, those that are bent on removing Oshomole, they will still use other tactics, other avenues. Before the end of this year, they will come up with other things, other strategies to remove him. But it's just a temporary relief. So, but if it were in advanced countries, where you see that there is a division in the party, and it's because of your position, the best thing is to resign. But Nigerians and Africans will struggle, to make sure that they maintain that party.
sometimes the opposition is just being opposition. There are perhaps no cogent reasons why they need to oppose your leadership, but just because they prefer a candidate to you. And that's not enough to say, okay, because you just don't like me, and then I will resign.
But like Adams, there's a lot of reasons that some of the governors have given that.
And a lot of reasons. I think last time we had a count on that. There were more governors who actually believed that Adams was doing the right thing than you had compared to those who think he was not.
If once that happens in a political party, then there is a smear on that position. So what I'm saying is that later, these people will still resurrect this struggle.
All right, then.
And especially when elections are close, they will resurrect it, and at a point, the party will now say, okay, instead of one person to destroy the party, then the person will...
Everybody destroy the party. Okay. Instead of one person, let's all destroy it together.
Adam Oshomole, well, he can sleep very well this night. And then...
Not exactly.
And then you should also put your ears down to see, because I know they will strategize and come back again.
All right. Well, I mean...
10 reasons have already been documented by one individual. You see, what we are going to see in these their cases, just a flurry of defenses for and against Oshomole. So it is good that each side attacking is not very, very well now. In the end, we see. But evil day certainly must come.
Because the battle is not over.
Until it's over.
Until it's over.
All right. Federal government extends travel caution to Germany, France, and Spain. Says here the federal government yesterday added 3 new countries, Germany, France, and Spain, to the list of 5 high-risk countries with widespread community transmission of COVID-19 virus. For which it has issued travel caution. Vice President Yemi Osibajo also confirmed that President Muhammadu Buhari has received the report of the committee set up by the federal government to assess the health and economic impact of the outbreak of COVID-19 on the country. Briefing journalists on efforts to contain the spread of the pandemic in the country, the Minister of State for Health, Senator Olurunmibe Mamora, said despite the fact that Nigeria has not recorded another confirmed case in the last 1 week, the government has not lost sight that the country, like others, is still at high risk. And I totally agree with that. It was very easy to see other African nations who were at 0 shoot up to 6.
Good.
And it just for me, more confirmation that we might be enjoying the status where we are now, but that doesn't mean we can't sleep and wake up and have a different scenario. And if we're not doing anything now to be proactive, then we're too late. If now we're having, travel cautions, I hope that the travel caution means that if Nigerians want to go to these areas, well, you've got to be very careful. But that the travel caution also stops flights coming from those areas into Nigeria, except if those on that flight are Nigerians. Like Nigerians in Spain and in France and the other place they mentioned who want to come back to Nigeria are fine to come home. But if you have visitors coming from there, here, that for this period, that the government is able to extend that sort of ban, so that if you have COVID or you've had engagements with people who have COVID-19 there, stay back first until we're able to sort ourselves out. But Nigerians within these areas can come home. A lot of nations around the world are already doing that, saying our people in other parts of the world can come home, but you, as a visitor here, you stay back first. Emmanuel, let me get your thoughts.
Yeah,
Go.
but even at that, our people could come home. Yes, but of course, necessary details have to be taken
they said, of course, when
them.
they come here, they have to stay for
Indeed.
self quarantine, self isolation for 14
Indeed.
days.
Because anybody could carry it.
Anybody.
The fact is that I don't know what federal government is talking, because on radio this morning, except I didn't hear well, I heard that the areas like China, Japan, all the rest of them, that they won't stop either flight or people coming from there. Just in passing like that, I say, what is happening? While I had heard this particular one you read now. So whatever be the case, I think all that is requisite should be done to make sure that the spread of COVID-19 is minimized, because if it wants to come in, it must come in.
All right, let me have your thoughts, Dr. Robinson.
Well, this is a time for caution, for nations all over the world. And so what Nigeria have done or said is not out of United Nations guideline. And so for persons that are non-Nigerians coming into Nigeria, they can't come, but they have to follow certain rules and regulations. Be isolated for 14 days before they can come in. Even the one that has happened, it was almost late, because the man was able to go down at Lagos Airport, went into the community, and that was late. So I think we should be more proactive, and the federal government is trying. I think we also have a good record on pandemic like this, like Ebola. We were able to conquer it. I think Nigeria should be able to conquer this too. But we should not lose sight of having it in any number any day, because of the strategic position Nigeria holds in West Africa.
All right. Okay, we got your thoughts. Let's just move on. Another story here. CBN unveils measures to cushion COVID-19 impact on economy. Cuts intervention loans rate to 5%, directs banks to restructure tenor, creates 50 billion naira credit support for healthcare industry. CBN unveils plans to cushion COVID-19 impact on economy. All right, so part of that story reads, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, yesterday unveiled a number of policy initiatives that are supposed to help during this period that we are battling COVID-19 pandemic. It says here that it's a timely intervention by the Apex Bank, and it includes an extension of the moratorium on the Apex Bank's intervention programs, interest rate reduction, creation of the 50 billion naira targeted credit facility, and credit support for the healthcare industry. Emmanuel, your thoughts here?
Well, it's a good one. Perhaps because COVID-19 surfaces, that's why CBN is stepping in by creating that 50 billion
for healthcare.
Yes, for healthcare. Because I remember vividly, with even in the budget and all that, healthcare has been receiving what could just be gloated at, because the thing is it's a pittance. But you see, in the situation we find ourselves among other nations in the world, any measure that will indeed showcase us as being proactive on this COVID-19, because it's affected almost everything, I think will be welcome. So let them continue coming up with any necessary measures to make sure that whatever effects it may have will be cushioned, especially economically.
All right. Dr. Lulu.
Well, the effect of COVID-19 obviously will be very huge in the international economy and domestic economies all over the world, and then Nigeria will not be exception. So, if the federal government or the CBN is coming up with strategies, economic strategies to cushion the effect of COVID-19, I think they have started early. But I want to point out that as they have put it on blueprint, they should try as much as possible to implement it fast. Because, as a matter of fact, for me, I am thinking that in the next few months, if it continues like this, the world economy may go into recession, and so many countries, the economies of so many countries may also run into recession, because a lot of industries in the developed countries, China and the United States, a lot of industries have been closed down, and or some of them running at partial capacity utilization. So it is just time for us to ensure that what we need to do is done at the local economy, so that the sanction will not be too much on the Nigerian economy. Now, reduction of interest rate, that is paramount, is what the federal government can do. And then getting some of money that other small and medium enterprises can leverage on is also a good strategy. I think the central bank have taken a good step in that direction.
All right. Well, we have another story in this day newspaper. This here says, Kano Assembly suspends 5 lawmakers over Sanusi. And it says here, the Kano State House of Assembly yesterday suspended 5 lawmakers for 6 months over an attempt by them to stop the presentation of the report of the investigation of the former Emir of Kano, Alhaji Ahmad Muhammad Sanusi II, which caused a rowdy session in the House last week. The House Speaker, Honorable Abdulaziz Gafasa, announced the suspension of the members at the resumption of seating, saying they were suspended for misconduct and violation of the rules of the House. The suspension came just as the governor of Nasarawa State, Mr. Abdullahi Sule, expressed shock over the removal of the former emir and his subsequent banishment to Nasarawa State, saying he had no prior knowledge of the plot to dethrone him. The 5 members were suspended for violating the rules of the House, especially Order 4, Sub 4A, B, D, and E. They disrupted the sittings of the House and prevented proceedings from going on. They tried to, or they behaved violently and even attempted to snatch the mace in a clear attempt to sabotage the sitting of the House. The members suspended Honorable Garba Yao. Well, the names are all there. The other 2 members are Honorable Muhammad Badlo, APC representing Remingado, Honorable Salisu Ahmed, and on and on and on. But this is what they said. Look, you disrupt the proceedings, so we're suspending you for 6 months.
Well, that's too much. But of course, that goes to explain what we always say, proverbially, that if a village cooks for one man, it won't be enough. It will be over, rather. But one man's food will not go around in a village. There are always better ways to handle issues that one is peeved at. For instance, if they are supporting Sanusi like that, they could also form a common front after adopting whatever, and then strike with a minority report, which of course will be rejecting that. They have to be forced to look into it. But when you come, you become violent. You want to snatch the mess because Sanusi is somewhere, you are supporting him, neglecting the institution you believe in. That means people will be saying, okay, as usual, maybe something has gone under the bridge, and then your palms are greased. See, the minority sometimes are very correct in whatever they may be attempting to do. But the majority must indeed have whatever they say must pass through. So, for me, they are suspended. Let them go and rest. They'll come back for 6 months.
And I think that we've heard at one point, I think it was this same guy from Kanu who was suspended that time from the National Assembly, who went to court, and the court said something about them being unable to suspend a legislator from the House. Who was the guy that mentioned something on budget padding?
Budget, yeah.
From Kanu. He's from Kanu.
Forgotten, yes. So, Forgotten his name.
In any which ways, I'm sure we know who we're talking about.
Yes, of
But
course,
yes,
we
the
do.
court at that time did say that they can't suspend him. But Jibril. But he remains suspended. So I'm wondering, at what point do we understand where the law dictates another thing, or the law is interpreted in one way by the courts, and yet we carry on in our merry way? Because this is a state assembly again, yet suspending a member, and in this case for 6 months. Anyways, let me get to you, Dr. Lulu.
Well, like I said last time, the Sanusi saga, just begun, and it will go far. There's division already in Kano State, and so everybody, all the parties, carries along that kind of division in whatever they do. So we should expect even more when, especially during elections. Now there is division in the House. There will be division even in Kano community, because the emir of Kano has his own constituency, and a lot of people have sympathy for him. So a lot of this kind of character will be there even in time to come. And then some persons in Kano also feel that the emir was removed in a manner that that is not lawful, and if you look at the way of removal of the emir, you find out that the law was used in one aspect, then customary ways of doing things used at the other hand, and so it was not neat enough. So a lot of people will continue to insist that the removal was unlawful, and then divisions will continue.
But what do you think? What do you think about the suspension of these 5 lawmakers?
The suspension of the 5 lawmakers, if they have caused enough tension in the House, then the House, have that authority to suspend them. Of course, I know they will go to court, and the court will pronounce on that.
Got your thoughts there. Emifia Haga joins us too. He's a political analyst. Emifia Haga, good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning to everybody.
All right, let's get your thoughts on this one.
I think first I will dwell on the suspension. Nigeria is a constitutional state whereby the constitution covers every action, and it is expected that the lawmakers who make this law should submit themselves to the constitution. In a situation where somebody who represents a constituency will be suspended by other elected members, I don't think it is right. National Assembly did it, and some people went to court. It's an evil that Saraki-led the National Assembly brought to us. And now it is expanding. It has extended to states. People have been suspended. The other time we had in Rivers State here, some people were suspended too. So you see, it's not something that is right. I think this issue has been tested in court, and the court abolished that suspension. Omagege resumed, and there was all that person too. Was Undume also went to court the other time. I wonder where the State Assembly is deriving this power from to suspend an elected member who is elected to represent the constituency. I don't think things like this are right. Let us submit ourselves to the Constitution if truly we have agreed that we are practicing democracy, whether right or wrong. But it is better we submit ourselves to the rules. If not, if other arms of government are doing those things that we are doing, I don't think we have a state where you will sit down and say that I have it, I will go with construction project money and all that you become a rich man as honorable, where you are even dishonorable in the first place. I think let's submit ourselves to the law. That is what I would just tell you.
All right, got your thoughts on that there. And we have I think I'm trying to see if I can get stories out of the Vanguard. But before I move on, I have Dr. C.H. Chinwo. He's a legal practitioner and a public analyst. He's here with us this morning. Good to have you here, sir.
Thank you, Anna. Good morning.
Do you want to quickly say something on the suspension of these 5 lawmakers from the Kano State Assembly? They say they disrupt proceedings.
The issue is that we have a democracy in Nigeria without Democrats. And so people don't have the willingness to listen to the other side. You see, that's how they describe all these things. Whenever people are not ready to listen to the other, to tolerate the other view, the minority view. They describe them, they disrupted proceeding, they carried remains and all that. But I think we must develop to the point where true democrats are, that is to give everybody his right to have his say, even if he will not have his way. Majority have their way, but allow the minority to have their say. We don't have it in this country. It's all is it in the executive, is it in the judiciary, is it in the even we among the people, we are not ready for the people who have dissenting voices. But those are the people who help societies to grow.
All right.
Yeah, but Annie, see, they said they were violent.
Yes, they disrupted
the proceedings.
and they tried to take the mace too.
Can you imagine?
That was the report we had.
At least the report we have, we are speaking on it. Because if another one comes, we'll speak on that.
It's always that's what they have done in every suspension. They will describe that they disrupted, and they go to court and lose.
Yeah, I think it's good it's tested in court. Because if truly they were violent, I think it's not allowed to be in that kind of a serene place that they are very much serious, deliberating on issues. One come up, you now turn to violence.
Yeah,
and you
but
want to start the mess and all
I
that.
agree that if there were disruptions
Yes.
to the processes and you have people who have constituted themselves to be
Something of a nuisance,
nuisances
yes.
at that period, there should be some sort of internal mechanism they have that deals with that sort of measures.
Not
But I'm not okay with suspension, because the truth is that these people were voted by a constituency to represent them during the so for 6 months. Will they have any issues? Do they
And
deliberate on matters?
The timing
No.
of suspension,
See,
6 months.
the suspension issue, we have always said, until that Jubrin you mentioned went and tested it. But whatever it is that is making maybe assemblies to be coming up with suspension, maybe it's part of their internal rules. If it's not, why is it that once, then I want to believe that there
That
are
is the
some
very
people,
thing we're saying. The internal rules here, if
Yeah.
that is what they do have, is wrong. At least that is what I'm
no, it
saying.
might be
You
wrong.
cannot have internal rules that takes one person away from serving his people where he needs to, where he has been voted
how
to.
long was it in Duma or who? His own was longer.
It was about
Even if it's one day, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
No, if it shouldn't be, there should be an enforcement modality.
That's why I said I didn't
Courts
mention. I said
courts
courts
are
have.
pronounced on it, but
Courts have pronounced, but nothing.
Our lawless tendencies, courts are pronounced. You don't have the right to suspend.
even according to their internal rules, the other one as well, I think the one of the National Assembly is 14 legislative days.
Yes, I heard such.
It's just 14 legislative days that you can suspend the person.
That you give one and a year, another 6
This one you are
months.
giving 6 months, you're giving year and all that. It's
Six
illegality.
The 6 months is what worries me. That 6 months is too long.
All right, moving on. We have here coronavirus in the Vanguard newspaper. Coronavirus, how drop in oil price affects Nigeria's economy. It says, despite the absence of reassuring words from the federal government, Nigerians have cause to be concerned as the global spread of coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, and the continuous drop in the price of crude oil in the international market will definitely take a heavy toll on the Nigerian economy. Specifically, it's no longer news that oil and gas account for over 90% of Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings and more than 60% of the country's oil earnings. And presently, with developments in the internal market, oil and gas, Nigeria's major revenue earner is currently under threat. Because of the spread of coronavirus, many countries such as China, Japan, India, France, Italy, and Germany, among others, have curtailed movements of their citizens through shutdowns, cancellations, lockdowns, and restrictions placed on large gatherings. These restrictions are taking a toll on these countries, forcing a slowdown in the economic activities of these countries and also negatively affecting their consumption pattern, especially the consumption of petroleum products. The combined drop in petroleum consumption in these countries and what is currently forcing a slowdown in global demand, especially the demand for crude oil. With this massive decline in crude oil demand, there is presently a supply glut, which is excess supply of crude oil in the market with little or no buyer. In line with the law of demand and supply, when supply of a commodity far exceeds the demand for the same commodity, the price of the commodity declines. As of today, I hear it's dropped to about 29 or so dollars per barrel. So there we are. We did read earlier on that the governor for central bank has put out certain measures he believes should cushion the economy during this period. But there are a lot of people that say when you look at the economy and you see how much we leverage on petrodollar, that there's hardly anything we can put in to cushion the shock that this will have to our economy that will be sufficient enough. We should be ready for a slammer.
Well, already Islamic. I'm telling you, it's on already. Because see, if they say it's over 90%, good. Now forget about over. 90%, just remove it from 100. So what remains is a real problem for Nigeria. Oftentimes we preach diversification. In fact, myself, I started hearing about diversification in the early 70s. After everything about the Civil War subsides. Now we started hearing that. Until now, they've not taken any major step in the diversification. And they see exactly what has happened. But even if Nigeria had diversified, and then there are foreign investors and all that, there is absolutely no way, as far as this pandemic is concerned, if there will be a lockdown on all sectors. So that's why I have seen it as something once you just take in good faith. Every country should take it in good faith, because there's no side you will in fact say, let me go and concentrate on. Is that one is a COVID-19 not present there? So
All right, got your thoughts there. Dr. Olulu?
Well, I think Nigeria cannot run away from the economic problems or challenges that will come with this COVID-19, because greater aspect of our economy is at the international community, and so very weak internal, productive sector in Nigeria, and so we may be having some time to reduce what we think what we normally consume. Now, right now, like you said, supply is greater than demand in the market. About our oil, and so that will subsequently bring us to reduction in revenue as time goes on. Apart from that, it will now snowball into budget problems. You see that our financial decisions have been amended. Then we'll talk of monetary variables. That is what the central bank does. What central bank does is, touching monetary issues so that the economy can bounce back. But the physical issues this is the area that cannot be fixed in a very short term. And so, because of that, we cannot, as a matter of fact, escape the challenges that will come with COVID-19. The physical issues, we'll talk about taxes, because a lot of industries are not working up to full capacity. They will not be able to pay the kind of tax they're supposed to pay and all that. So the fiscal issues, which we have neglected for a long time, will
come right up and bite us in the face.
Yes.
All right, got your thoughts on that. Emifia Haga.
Yeah, this is the implication of running a mono economy. And the Nigeria case is worse. We are not just pursuing a mono economy, but we are pursuing economic growth. We don't think about economic development. And today we are seeing the implication. If anything affects the price of oil at the international market, we fall down here. We'll be praying to God to help us so that the price will not fall more than it is. How long shall we continue like that? Enough of the economic growth that they are pursuing. Let us pursue economic development. Enough of looking at the IMF, looking at international. What do we have? Let us develop those things that can sustain us. Those things that can grow us as people, as a nation, and continue to live the way we are supposed to live. This thing they are doing with quote figures every year and there, our economy have expanded, our GDP. What are you GDP doing when people are hungry? Every time you GDP, the largest economy, and at the end of there are no jobs for people. It's good. CBN is doing what it's doing now. But I think it is better we pursue economic development where there are savings, people will invest. And once people begin to invest, jobs will be created. Let us look inward. Let us forget all this growth that are actually causing us much hunger. Just look at it. People are closing their border because they can sustain themselves to an extent. But can Nigeria try that? We cannot do that. We are still looking at the oil price and all that. Like Saima said, diversification has become a song. Lyrics are there that we sing every time I hear. We just sing it, people will clap. Yes, diversification, we run with it. And at the end, we diversify nothing. And at the end, we begin to cry when there is crash in the oil
All right,
price.
then. Okay, I've got your thoughts there. Let me get to Dr. C.J. Chinwo.
Well, I think this is not the right song to sing at this time, diversification. I like the latter part of your my submission. I was waiting for that. Because countries that are even diversified, they're even having a problem now. Where do they go to? Yeah. You want to export? You are not even moving out. Nobody's coming in to buy. So I was listening to the news this morning. Car dealers said they can't sell their cars, they can't buy from anywhere. So whether we diversified or not, the COVID situation is serious. Maybe where the issue of if we had diversified had come is that we would have had much more than oil. What we produce different, so we now begin to look for local consumption. Because right now, if you don't have people who have produced different things locally, who before were exporting, if they were exporting before, they would have now looked for met me say, please, Chiwon, please, this we would have sent to Ghana or to America. We can't sell it. Can you just buy a little? Then I buy and keep in my house. So that's why diversification is important. Because right now, for a country that is producing nothing, if everybody, I think that God answers prayers in this country, and this is how we know it. Because if not, if what happens in other countries happen to this country with this
COVID-19,
we're in danger. If you shut down Port Harcourt, how many people have food to last there for 24 hours? How many people? How many people, even if you went to the bank to withdraw, how many people had money in the bank? So if you imagine it, it's something that we shouldn't contemplate. Because I don't know how it will
like
be.
you said, I think I'm extremely appreciative of the fact that we haven't had that sort of incident here where we have to lock ourselves up in quarantine, because how many respirators do we have? Functional respirators do we have? United States was talking about having about 190,000, and how that was even way behind what they need, and they were scrambling. And then I'm thinking of here in Nigeria, where I don't know how, if United States was talking about 190,000 and them being very short of supply, then I was thinking, what does Nigeria have? How many will we have? And with COVID-19, where it attacks your respiratory system, a respirator is what even helps you pass through the difficult times. So that means we'll just be dropping off like flies.
So many flies, and that is the thing. So that is in danger, and I think we should keep hoping and praying that
whatever has stopped it,
you should stop it.
Keep just holding there.
Because we are not the people that can withstand it.
No.
At all.
But unfortunately, we might not face it physically, but dealing with the virus, but we will face it economically because our oil that's
nobody's
supposed to
buying
help.
that. The only thing we have.
The only thing we have, nobody's buying.
Nobody's buying.
All right, then. Court of Appeal reinstates Adams Oshomole as APC national chairman. We read that earlier from the This Day newspaper, but the Vanguard also has her addition to that story. And it says here that Justice Abubakar Deti Yahya, who presided over a 3-member panel of the Court of Appeal, gave the order on Monday while delivering a ruling in an ex parte application filed by Oshomole. Oshomole had, in an ex parte application, prayed the court to halt the suspension order on the grounds that there was no status quo antebellum if the appellate court fails to intervene. His lead lawyer, Chief Wole Olanipeku-San, had informed the court that there is a National Executive Committee meeting of the APC slated for Tuesday, March 17th, wherein the applicants will be excluded going by the suspension order of the lower court. Olanipeku submitted that the order has already created a state of disorder in the party that could degenerate if the appellate court failed to intervene. So in her intervention, the appellate court said, well, status quo should be maintained. And that means Oshomole remains as the APC chairman.
Yeah, quite a reprieve day for him. It doesn't mean the end of the case. So what I understand, they have ground, I must tell you, from what they prayed for. But the issue is, Oshomole, are you leading APC well? I have said this before. If you don't, what that reprieve is a postponement of the evil day, which eventually must come. And that is after everything, because they certainly must have their next meeting, even though himself will be present. Let it be that you are doing well. If you are not doing well, the evil day will still take you off.
He's doing well. All right, let's move on.
Especially when he must want to know the party.
Well, I think he has done the right thing now, because in the first place they run to a court of the same level of jurisdiction. I don't know why they should do that. The best thing was to go to Court of Appeal, and they have done the right thing. The Court of Appeal have pronounced, and then I think for now, Oshomole will have reprieve, and let him prepare for the next round of war. I know politicians do not just submit. easily.
Okay,
give up.
but if part of the prayers was that, we're going to have a national NEC meeting, and with this suspension, Oshomole is not going to, he'll be excluded. So it's already causing controversies and issues. Before they gave this ruling, before the appeal court gave the ruling, they'd already suspended that meeting.
Yeah.
So was
It's
that
a,
still
it's a
some?
strategy.
All right. And if you're Haga, let me get to you on this.
I think politicians, particularly in Nigeria, Brown, should learn to politic rightly. You are politicking, you want to rule the people. It is expected of you that whatever you are doing, do it from the right point of view so that people will not begin to have problem with you. Right from the onset, immediately they came with this suspension of Oshomole, I knew they are going nowhere because I have looked at the issue critically and I discovered that they don't hold water. You don't just wake up because you felt that this person is not comporting himself to your ways and caprices, therefore you must put the person out. No, there are issues that you don't need to fight as a politician, but rather you can go through negotiation and you still get that thing that you want. But there are some you just went into it that you want to fight. You might end up becoming very irrelevant in the system. And that is what I think APC should not do. All of them that are fighting, there are members of one family. And they can actually get those
But
things.
in the same vein, when you say that because somebody doesn't agree to you want to put the person, doesn't that work both ways? Because that's what the other one is claiming the other one wants, If that is what Obasake is saying, it's the same thing to Oshomole is saying.
If you look at the issue, Oshomole may be wrong in some other ways, but the one that triggered this quarrel between him and Obaseki, Oshomole is not wrong because the law is there. So send this circular to all elected members and let them choose from among themselves who will be the principal officer of the house. But what you did was to send to 8 members and they went to inaugurate themselves 12 a.m. And the other was not ran to Oshomole. No, you are our party chairman. This thing is not so according to the law. And Oshomole called Obaseki, do the right thing. You said no, you will not do the right thing. That is what you have done. And principal officers of the state assembly have been elected. Out of the 22 members, only 8 have resumed. The other 40 are still with Oshomole. They have refused to resume. That the right thing should be done.
Okay.
So why doesn't Oshomole remove himself from the party business as the state is concerned? And allows them, at least, I would think what he'll do is, mediate on each level and not seem to be taking any side.
No, he's still the governor.
Oshomole is the chairman of the
I agree,
APC.
but he doesn't have to be.
Members,
that's why I said he doesn't have to be the one that is involved. As chairman, he could mediate in the sense that he'll get a committee set up and said, well, fix this problem.
Now look at it. The people who are complaining are members of APC. The governor is a member of APC.
Like I said, I know it is one family, but in order not to show an overreach, it would have been easier for Oshomole to say, I'll set up a committee, a NEC will sit on this matter, a committee will be set up, they will deliberate and sort these problems. I'm not part of it. Just to pull himself out of it, because the people that ran to him are expecting that you are a former governor, you are also an APC national chairman. This is supposed to be an internal thing.
From the states.
And I'm saying, but then the state has its own leadership. But the state has its own leadership.
Yes, he's the father to all of them. He's the father. He's the political father to all of them. Obaseki and the other members.
Let me leave fatherhood. Let me get to CAG. I'll just leave fatherhood out of this. CAG.
Yes, well, my problem is to look at it from the legal side.
Who is the mother? I'm interested.
Looking at it from the legal side, the Court of Appeal have lifted the suspension. Which suspension now? Is it the suspension of Oshomole from the party at his SACO ward level? Or is it suspension based on the decision of the High Courts of Abuja? Because it's important to understand that one of the biggest challenges for lawyers and courts is the issue of status quo. What is the status quo? Oshomole has been suspended for about over 3 months now, so by his party. Surprisingly, maybe because he's national chairman, he didn't take any action. He didn't try to challenge that. He ignored them. One of the biggest things you do for yourself is to disregard the potency of your enemy. It is the worst thing you do to yourself. And he did. So that played into the hand of those who took that issue. Our national chairman is not a member of the party now. And they went to court. And the court said, if that be the case, then he can't be chairman. and therefore removed him pending the hearing of the matter. Now, what did the Court of Appeal give order concerning? Was it his suspension as member of the party at the SACO, or is it suspension as chairman based on that suspension as member of the party? That's an issue to be sorted out. But it is something very important that when the Court of Appeal, after their judgment in what we call an obiter, they advise political parties to please sort their matters out
outside the court.
Because look, this thing has embarrassed the court system. I did my PhD thesis on the influence of the Supreme Court on the political development of Nigeria. And looking at it, you pity these courts for what the politicians are causing. They have afflicted courts with the problems they created for themselves, and they are the very persons who will go out and challenge, abuse the courts, from the justices to the lawyers and everybody. So politicians should please understand that politics is a matter of negotiating, and if you lose out on a particular position, wait for another time. But the situation that I must have it my way and nobody else is creating all the problems we are seeing. But the court can't run away. All that the challenge for the courts all goes to them to up their own integrity quotient and ensure that you are both to look at issues irrespective of who is involved. Because if you look at this issue because this is the chairman of the ruling party of the country, you have destroyed the system. You have destroyed the judiciary. If you also look at the issue because we must do it against the chair of the ruling party, you have also destroyed the system. Look at the facts. Look at the law as it is and apply it irrespective of who is before you, because so we can use that same judgment as a precedent. Unfortunately, the judgments today, you are not even sure the courts themselves will use them as precedents.
It's a sad circumstance. All right, well, that's why we'll take a break. The news update comes up next. Stay with us.
Never been this good. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Hello and good morning. Here's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Annie Abdul Salam. The organized labor in River State has issued a 1-week ultimatum to the River State government over the delay in reconvening the meeting of the Minimum Wage Committee and other labor-related issues. The ultimatum was issued at the end of a meeting of the River State Council of the Nigerian Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, and the Joint Public Negotiating Council in Port Harcourt. The statement was signed by the state secretaries of the NLC, Matthew Olabe, that of the TUC, Prince Ndukwe, as well as the JPNC, Opuari Agbada. The labor unions expressed displeasure over the delay in the reconvening of the Minimum Wage Committee meeting, the non-implementation of the promotion and annual incremental benefits since 2015, and the non-payment of outstanding salary arrears for some workers for February and March 2016. River State Governor Nyesom Wike has called for the unity of all Niger Delta ethnic nationalities to promote the development of the region. Speaking during a courtesy visit by leaders of the Niger Delta at the Government House in Port Harcourt, Governor Wike said, unless the people speak with one voice, they will continue to lose out. The governor ordered that the song for all ethnic nationalities should be the promotion of the development of the Niger Delta. The governor also alleged that the amnesty for Niger Delta was mismanaged and also decried the situation where the former special advisor on amnesty was detailed to remove him from office as governor of River State. A 3-man panel of the Court of Appeal presided over by Justice Abubakar Yahya has ordered a stay of execution of the order of the FCT High Court suspending Adams Oshomole. The appeal court's order is to remain effective pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice filed by the APC national chairman. The court also gave an order of interim injunction restraining the defendants from taking any action that will violate the order of a stay of execution granted by the court. The appeal court warned political parties to resolve their differences amicably without resorting to the court. And on the foreign scene, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has said that it has earmarked $1 trillion lending capacity to help its 189 member countries combat the impact of COVID-19 on the global economy. This is coming after the United States Federal Reserve cut interest rates to almost zero and launched a $700 billion stimulus program in a bid to protect the economy from the effects of the coronavirus. Managing Director of IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, said its policy action in emerging market and developing economies will need to address capital flow reversals and commodity shocks during this period. She explained that the fund could deploy its flexible and rapid disbursing emergency response toolkit to help countries with urgent balance of payment needs. And with that, we'll wrap up on our news update here on Today 95.1 FM. Thank you for listening. Have a good morning.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Some have schools, others have environment.
We have it all at St. Maria Goretis International Schools off East West Road, Romudara, Port Harcourt, Rivers State.
We have nursery, primary and secondary schools offering a unique combination of Nigerian and British curricula.
We prepare pupils and students for both national and international examinations.
We also have fully equipped labs and basic technology workshops, computer room, well-stocked library, language learning programs, multi-purpose sports field, and spacious and well-ventilated classrooms.
Our high school entrance examination for the 2020/2021 session holds on Saturday 21st March 2020 and Saturday 29th June 2020.
For more inquiries, call 0803 313 7744 or 0817 073 1076.
Visit us at www.smgsphc.com.
St. Maria Goretis International Schools, bringing out the genius in every town. Bringing out the genius in every town.
FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Six minutes going past the hour of 9, and you're listening to Today 95.1 FM. I've got Fortune here from Planet View Properties. Fortune, good to see you here this morning.
Yeah.
And you're here with a lovely colleague of yours,
Ify.
Good morning. Just at least say good morning to us.
Good morning.
All right, Ify, good to have you here.
Yeah.
All right, so Fortune, tell me a bit about Planet View. Let's hear a little history today.
A little history. Okay. Here's a company that has been trying to reach out to people in Port Harcourt, to do the right thing and invest the right way. We've been in business for over 3 years, and over that span of time, we've been able to convert a lot of clients to the way we do or run business. Basically, we pride ourselves with customer, how would I put it now? Customer relations, or trying to satisfy clients in every way possible concerning property. You understand?
The
customer delivery, customer satisfaction. Yes, thank you very much. So we try to make them as comfortable as possible. Like the major problem that some people have is that they want to wait till they have all the cash. Like a lot of people missed out on that previous promo.
Because we're looking for all the 650 now.
650 has ended now. You're looking for 650, but we told you that you can pay 50%.
We did not hear that part. Let's do this. Now that we've heard, can we come?
I don't want you to pass. Although people should look out. We something big is coming towards Easter. We'll be having our Easter splash very, very soon. So we're coming up with some new promotions that will help people. So as far as the installments goes, you don't really have to wait till you have all the money. This is investment, and sometimes if you're buying these properties at the rate of 650, 500, 700, below 1 million naira, it's an investment plan. So if you tell somebody to I use the word dump 850,000 naira on a property is not going to develop now, it might be difficult for that person, So we develop a strategy where you can pay 50% deposit, then spread the rest all through a year. You understand? So it makes things easy for you as a client. You don't have to worry much. And it doesn't look like you're dumping a whole lot. If you, especially a businessman, that knows that when he puts 1 million naira into a particular business, might give him 1.2 million naira the following day. It's difficult for you to tell that person to bring 850. But when you're telling the person to pay in installments, it becomes easier.
Okay.
So we have a lot of properties that you can buy or purchase in this with this installment package. We have Planet View Layout Phase 1 located at Ipo behind the new international airport, selling for 850,000 naira. You can make that deposit of 50% and spread the rest through a year.
Okay.
We are not adding any extra charges. Then we also have Maryland, which was going for 650 all through last month, now 850.
Okay.
And those of you who will be coming, who had already subscribed to this, can come on Saturday to see the level of developments going on there. As we speak, we have graders and a whole lot of machinery working down there. As I told you, that once we bring in these machineries, the price of that place will increase. Yeah. So now it's selling for 850,000 naira. It also has installment plans. You have Prestige Gardens layout located at School Road. This very popular School Road you've been hearing of. School Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it connects the airport to Igritali. So you can have a plot of land there for 1.5 million naira, and if you buy 6 plots, you get a car. That promo still stands. You buy 6 plots and you get a car. Our documentation is basically a deed of conveyance and a registered survey plan.
Okay.
You have a registered survey plan and a deed of conveyance, which will be issued to you in less than a week from purchase.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's have your contact numbers. How can they reach you?
Yeah, if you want to reach Planet View Properties, you can come down to our office at GRA 64 Tombia Extension, GRA. That's very close to Royal House of Grace, those of you that know there very well. Or if you're coming from, Aba Road, you can connect through Polo Club. You go straight up like you're going to Equerry Road, ask around, then you get there. That's 64A Tombia Extension, GRA, Port Harcourt. Or you call Mr. Richman for more information on any of our properties on 080 3421 3191. I repeat, 080 3421 3191. Or you can call me directly for immediate inspections on 081 60 36 3989. I repeat, for immediate inspections, you call 081 60 36 3989. And then we have inspections, free inspections on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming through.
All right.
This is where we wrap up on this segment. Stay with us. The opinion poll continues in just a moment.
Today is here. Yesterday is gone and unrecoverable. Tomorrow, you don't know what it holds, right? You have today. Yes, you heard me. You have today. The indisputable truth is that today is pregnant with both good and bad. You have freely been given today as a gift to see what you will make out of it. Permit me to be positive. Permit me to sideline the negative and magnify the good. Permit me to espouse on today. Today is great. Today is wonderful. Today is targetable and targets can be achieved. Today is domineering and you can be dominant. Today is a conqueror and goals can be conquered. Today is challenging and you can challenge yourself for the better. Today is cheerful. You can choose to be happy. Just in case you're sulking, saddened and feeling sorry for yourself. Enough of the wallow in self-pity. You have today. I mean today. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. Take that step today. Opportunities are everywhere. Just be sensitive. Build on yourself and get ready for the opportunity. Be the best you can be today, because I see the sun smiling on you. This message is powered by Today
95.1 FM.
Voice of the people.
I am a proud Nigerian. I have been placed here by God for a time such as this.
Pack my bags, I ain't coming back.
The degradation, challenges, and problems faced by Nigeria are the perfect backdrop for me to develop and utilize my God-given potential.
I will not complain. I will not criticize. Rather, I will use my skills, gifts, relationships,
and experience to find long-lasting and revolutionary solutions to the many challenges confronting Nigeria.
Nigeria will rise again.
Because I am here, I will leave this nation
a better place than I met it. I will work to make Nigeria a praise on the earth.
I will work to make Nigeria a praise on the earth. So help me God.
Let me tell you how I got this far.
This message is brought to you by Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Hold on, Kata. No, don't anything else. Just bring 5,000 now.
Only.
Make the Qatar day. Make the code remain.
Yeah, they worry.
You were not aware you're a thief. Now that you know that your money is coming from a thief, do you not see why you're a thief?
All right, still talking about affairs of the federal government. We understand also that the federal government...
Welcome to today's edition of Beats and Pieces in the Premium Talk and News Radio.
It's going to be 1-1 Morata. 1-0 is never good enough.
That's where we're called the voice of the people. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Act.
Here we go.
95.1 FM, voice of the people.
And we're back.
Wake up to today's quest.
Wake up.
All the news and information you need in one go. Get started with the best of sports, lifestyle, analysis, and Annie.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Can you feel it? Wake up to today's quest with Annie on Today 95.1 FM. From 6 to 11 a.m. weekdays. Fantastic.
welcome back. 19 minutes after 9, and you are listening to Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. Let's quickly move on to our opinion poll segment. For opinion poll, we're looking at one of the stories we took from the dailies this morning. I'm almost tempted to take the story on Oshomole because we've seen that yesterday, Emmanuel, we spoke along those lines yesterday. We're looking at the letter that Tinubu had put out as regards to these issues, and then the pronouncements from the court yesterday and all of that. But let it not be that we woke up and decided to stay on this morning and night. Let's allow for other segments in the programs today to perhaps deal with it. What we will be looking at today, though, will be what the rep said concerning the 37 billion naira NAS renovation fund. He says it should be used to fund out of school children. It should be used for funds for out of school children. So let me see if I can get that story up and then go through it as quickly as I can. Okay. Use 37 billion naira NAS renovation fund for out of school children. That's what a rep says. A member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Farah Dagogo, has said that 37 billion naira budgeted for the renovation of the National Assembly complex and the money meant for the purchase of exotic cars for lawmakers should be spent on out of school children. While senators have chosen Toyota Land Cruiser Prados for themselves, members of the lower chamber, House of Representatives, have settled for a Toyota Camry 2020 model. The House on Thursday spent about 5 hours to discuss the issues affecting the Nigerian child. In an interaction with reporters in Abuja on Monday, Dagogo said the money earmarked for the renovation project and exotic cars should be used to educate children. The People's Democratic Party lawmaker from Rivers State said prioritizing and finding a lasting solution to the problem of out-of-school children should be the main focus of the parliament. He said, I'm particularly happy that the minority leader, Ndudi Elumelu, urged members to make sacrifices for them from their salaries and allowances to curb the menace. That is good, but I think using a legislative backing to rework the 37 billion already budgeted for the renovation of the National Assembly for out-of-school children should be thoroughly considered. So I know that when we did speak about this money for renovation, a lot of us here were oohing and eyeing and complaining about renovating the National Assembly complex with that much money. And of what importance was it that they had that much money earmarked for renovation? And shortly after, it was on the issue of vehicles that they have decided that they needed to get. I mean, from the papers now this morning, we understand that for some it was Prado Jeeps, the others it was Toyota Camrys. Obviously, all Toyotas anyways. And how they had rejected to use any car that was manufactured or, shall I say, assembled here in Nigeria. And we went on to talk about the amount of money that was supposed to be earmarked for that project. We have one of our own here from River State who says, I will definitely be excited to see how we can rework the 37 billion naira that was already budgeted for the renovation of National Assembly for out-of-school children. Says he thinks it should be thoroughly considered. They spent 5 hours, actually, they said, deliberating on the issue of children and out-of-school children. And I'm surprised that out of the 5 hours they deliberated, they didn't come up with the way forward with that. But when it comes to how they need to move to work and out of work, they don't need 5 hours to talk about the kind of vehicle that they need to get. So it took them 5 hours to deliberate on children in Nigeria and out-of-school children. And unfortunately, they didn't come up with the monies that they think they need to push for to help change that narrative. And because when we talk about Nigeria and a lot of the changes that we seek to put in place, a lot of people will say, you know what, take away the next 10 to 15 years because the people you already have now cannot be taught new tricks. We should concentrate on the ones who can be taught new tricks, and these are the younger children. So let's look at people from perhaps the age 15 downwards. Some people say 15 is already too old. I don't want to think so. But let's look at 15 downwards and see what we're doing now to ensure that by the time they take over the helms of affairs, that they're able to deliver properly. Now, if this is the kind of conversation they're having, then I'm excited about that. But I also want to say that they're having conversations and they're also providing solutions. Emmanuel, let me get your thoughts there.
The issue is about provision of solutions. It's not just, like you said, they sat for 5 hours. In the end, were they able to come up with anything? You see, it's not just sitting even for 10 hours and all that. For me, when that particular issue came up, the renovation, the question I asked on this platform was, are they going to use that money even for the renovation itself? Because it will be a pain, I must say it frankly, if I heard anything about maybe there's a collapse during plenary and all that, and all our legislators, maybe some of them injured and some died and all that. So it will be nice if they say it's 37 billion that must be used for the renovation. Let them use it. The problem I have is that 37 billion will never eventually be used. In the end, when you calculate if it's 37, perhaps 20 might be used, and the other 17 might go into a private pocket. So that is my worry. If truly they were going to use it, let them use it. At least everybody will see that, yes, that particular place is world class. It's been indeed renovated and all that. Whatever kind of renovation that will take up to that amount, but let it be used on that. But certainly it's not going to be. Now, somebody from Rivers State is making a suggestion. But this suggestion for Emmanuel Ndukwe is coming very late. Because as at that time they came up with that 37 billion, I want to believe that every member of the House and upper chamber also heard it. If you also came at that material time, instead of using this for renovation, let us rechannel this money to talk about the issue or handle issues of out of school children. It didn't come. But still good that it is coming, because better late than never. But when they sat for 5 hours deliberating, my ears were itching to hear that, yes, in the end, they rechanneled that money. Yes. But nothing can show. So what exactly? You see, I don't look at the surface of issues. Now that more or less what you could call a golden suggestion has been made, what has come up? Has it been adopted? No. So what? Nothing. So for me, there are a lot of issues in this country that are very pertinent. Now, the issues of these children and all that, yes, they are there. Now, you talk about, I keep on saying, hunger in this country now. Whether those in authority believes it or not, that is another issue. And there are several, of course, of them. But you sit for 5 hours. You deliberate, okay, this one is better used in this sector. And then you discussed. Now, when you discuss and you couldn't come up with a definite decision that, yes, we are going to divert that and use it for these out of school children, that means there were still dissenting voices there. And perhaps the dissenting voices overwhelmed reasonableness in terms of what Farah Dagogo said. So, are we out of that jam? The answer is no, for me.
All right, we got your thoughts on that. Let me move on now to Dr. Olulu. Dr. Olulu, your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I want to thank God that we have at least one person or minority thinking for the goodness of Nigeria and that of school children. Even if they are overwhelmed, at least somebody has spoken. And I want to thank Farah Dagogo for that suggestion. Because the point is, if we do not look at the problem of out-of-school children and other education-related problems in the society, it will come back to us, as a matter of fact. Now, see what is happening in the Northeast. And that's as a result of neglect of that part of Nigeria for a very long time educationally. So I think that those in National Assembly should look at that. If these children grow up and think that they are not giving what they're supposed to get from the society, even that your car, you cannot ride it on the street. As a matter of fact, today, a lot of those cars that National Assembly buys or have been buying for themselves, they cannot even drive it outside Abuja because of these children that have grown up and are now challenging and asking questions on what is going on in the society. So the best thing is for the National Assembly to look at the views of that minority, the minority crying that we should educate our children. They should look at it. That 5 hours coming out with no solution will mean that we still have majority that do not see reason with the minority. But I think that the majority should think, because this is the time for us to work for these young children. Beyond now, then all of us will be in trouble.
Anything, Haga?
For me, I think it is time the Nigerian government will come together. When I say the Nigerian government, I'm talking about the executive and the legislature particularly. To come up with something to actually ask themselves, what do we really want for this nation? How do we really develop these people and this country? Because over time, what you see is people, some politicians have come to understood that majority of Nigerians are actually docile, some are gullible, while some other ones don't actually want to do anything. So what this politician does is just to catch into our minds and to say certain ingratiating words, and we'll begin to dance and rejoice with them. While inside of them, they don't mean what they are saying. We have today out of school children. Yes, we have out of school men. We have out of school women. Go to the university, you see people who are crying. Some are just looking for little money to pay their fees and all that. And some are dropping out. You want well for Nigeria. All you could see is renovation because you felt that that one is pronounced, is announced. You are collecting newspaper allowance. You are collecting city allowance, recess allowance, laughing allowance, everything. These ones, you don't want to touch this one. Because you felt that this one is so pronounced and Nigeria will dance and begin to clap for me. They will see me as somebody who actually cares. While inside of you, what you will mean is different thing. And true, we are support, we are laughing, we are rejoicing. To the point that we begin to celebrate them. They have become celebrity. Because they have said something that we felt that, yes, this one touches us. Why inside of them, they will not do it. If it's good, he said what they said, yes. But if they are actually serious, I mean all members of the National Assembly, they are serious. Call that this your allowances, call that this your whatever thing you are spending. Let this money be channeled to the development of Nigerians. Let this money be used to ensure that we are progressing. Not this one we just make certain comment at the end of the day, we'll do another thing. That will not take us anywhere. It is time that the Nigerian people, the government plan for us. In other climes, I don't actually like measuring international communities and all that because I know we are very peculiar people and our situation is so peculiar too. But I have seen government who plans for people. When you are sleeping, you know somebody is planning for you. When you are working, you know somebody is planning something for you. But in the case of Nigeria, we are taking advantage of the situation and begin to mock Nigerians, thinking that we are actually speaking for them. That will take us anywhere. The National Assembly reduce whatever money that you are collecting in the name of allowances and all that. You are budgeting how much for renovation of house. How many Nigerians have somewhere to lay their heads? There are people on the street looking for a place just to lay, but budgeted how many billions of naira that you want to use to renovate a whatever chamber that you have AC, have everything that is so conducive. Majority of Nigerians, they have access to that place, they will say, I'm living in heaven. But they don't have it. You want to renovate. I won't have seen that, yes, because this thing is so pronounced. Let me say this one. I know Nigerians will dance. Nigeria will call me someone who speaks for them. Why inside of you? Why 5 hours deliberation?
They're tinkering on the issues.
Tinkering on the issue because they felt that it is 5 hours. But if it is the one that has to do with the choice of car
2020 model Toyota, right? Yeah, have it named, and that is the end. And they will go and they will buy, right? But if it has to do with the Nigeria, it will take 5 hours because inside there, they will be laughing. After 5 they will come and, hey, we have discovered we couldn't arrive at anything. If they were serious, you will see they will arrive or something. So what did they come up with? Nothing. And this is what they have been doing to us. That we can, the other time, Sheikh Usani said, we are receiving this, well, we grab it. But Sheikh Usani move a motion that your salary, your allowance should be reduced. He did it. One, Mr. Common Sense, he said all the senses, but he didn't stand up one day. I said, no, let us do this one. Let us reduce the burden we are putting on Nigeria. They didn't do it. But once they come to the media, they will just tell you, they say, well, clap, this one is speaking for us. While inside, they are speaking for themselves. I think let us have a government who plans for the people at the federal, at the state, and at the local level. Because Nigeria is blessed. The problem is prudent utilization of this money. Right. Nigeria will have enough to take care of everybody, but some people just want to corner everything and begin to tell us that we are the government people, we are this, we are that, and at the end we suffer. Okay, it's not right.
All right, got your thoughts on that. Let me move on to Dr. C.H. Chinwo on this.
Well, the issue can be, sometimes I feel for you people, the media people who are regularly tackling Nigerian issue, because it's like talking about a thing that won't change. Our patriotism quotient in this country is very low. This you're talking about National Assembly. Why the people there behave the way they behave is that it is the same struggle they had from their communities to get out and get to that point. These things are happening at every level. You go to the universities, the vice chancellors are not thinking about the welfare, the accommodation. Go to some universities and even in the South. See where students are living as hostel. You come to this government, those who are in government are taking care of themselves and forget the civil servants and forget the people in the state. The National Assembly, so the man who finally gets to Abuja is, you mean Abuja, there's a place like this in this country? All he has to do is to make sure that he remains there. Even if he's not re-elected, let him remain in Abuja. And that's a disaster. So what do we do? My own concern is how can we change the patriotism quotient of this country and make it better so that people can learn the value of thinking for the good of others and starting from the families they are in. Because father has tried, but if he is representing, I think, the Buguma or Calabar houses, I wish that if we can go there is evidence of the fact that this is a man that sincerely believes for the good of his people. I'm not saying he must be as the poorest person. I'm not saying he should suffer like the person suffering most, but I wish I can be able to see evidence that this man is doing everything to lift up his people. I think Father was in House of Assembly. Is there evidence of the fact that when he was in House of Assembly of River State, he did a lot to lift up? Now he goes to Abuja. Wonderful. Has he, beyond, because he said he was speaking to the press people outside, not even in the floor of the house. I'm not sure it was on the floor of the house. But has it really shown that, look, instead of you giving me Toyota Camry Model 2 2020, can you give me innocent? Let me show Nigerians that innocent can be used. Because that's what we're waiting for. Are there some members in the house that told Femi Bajamila, please give me innocent. The rest I want to demonstrate.
That can be done.
That can be done. Nobody's doing that. People just do this to play to the gallery. But all the same, we commend him that he has managed to say, if he didn't say, we won't be discussing it here.
Exactly.
He has managed to say, and maybe it's from saying it that we begin to
perhaps push for it, yes.
Public perception. So, 37 billion naira to renovate the National Assembly, which I see. The last time I went to Supreme Court, I look from the Supreme Court to that place. That place can be renovated if it's in need of renovation with less than 4 billion naira. And the contractor will get his good profit. But the way we are in Nigeria, we don't care. Before you get to that amount, everybody has put his own, and before they start spending, everybody will collect his own. 37 billion naira will change a lot of things. Like he said, that of school children, and Dr. Lulu has said it. sometimes I feel for them. Those of them who are trying to accumulate everything. There was one time when Obasanjo was president and he increased fuel price. And I never forgot that. I got to my bar station, I told them, as I got to the filling station, I had MBA sticker. One young man saw I told him, he said, you are the people causing all the trouble in this country. I tried to explain, he was not ready. You are the people, you lawyers. And I told my colleagues, I said, that's the danger we face in Nigeria. When this country starts burning, every one of us is in danger. I was riding a second-hand old Mercedes Benz, but I was in danger.
Yeah.
Because to them, I was one of those causing the trouble. So those who are riding the big cars, I feel for them. Why are they going to ride it? I feel they're seeing it now. They are being captured in their own homes by those they call security. As they return to their house every day, the streets are lined up. Are they here? Are they here? You don't do it. Your children can't come out. You send them abroad, they are like second class citizens elsewhere. So the earlier we start thinking for the good of everybody, the better. Because when it starts, look at this COVID now. If they say nobody should move, you and your cars are parked, there are 10 of them.
Where would you go?
The man who does, you don't have 10 cars, I don't have any. We're all of us at the same level. So the earlier we start thinking for the good of this country, the better. So maybe let's use this what he has said as a discussion point. And I agree with him that money can be some of it can be used for, even if it's out of school children in one state.
In one state. Let's do something about it.
Yes.
I was reading about this out of school children. It says here that the Life Builders Initiative, a non-governmental organization, has raised alarm over the 13 million out of school children in Nigeria, saying it is a time bomb that could consume the country in the next few years. The founder of the NGO, Dr. Sango David, who raised the concern while addressing the press ahead of its stakeholders forum on education, warned that if we don't get these children back to school in the next few years, we would have built an army that is worse than Boko Haram and bandits. He said his NGO, which has been working on getting out-of-school children back to school in the past 6 years, has impacted the lives of over 1,500 children. And I'm just going to look at that 1,500 versus 13 million and see that we haven't even scratched the surface when it comes to what we need to do to change the... And, he says it all, like Dr. Chinwa was trying to say, for all the legislators, the big men, so to say, who want to live that life of affluence and want to drive around and do that in the comfort of luxurious cars. I don't know how comfortable they think they can drive around and for how long they can do that with this growing team of out-of-school children who all they will know perhaps will be abject poverty, rejection, and disdain from, the well put together group of people. I don't know how they think these ones will not take to a life of crime to survive. And then when you pass with that luxurious vehicle of yours, you are number one target. Okay. I don't know how long they think they can live, above this group of people and then not be hurt. Because that's what we see now. And that's why you have so many bandits on the streets. That's why you have people kidnapping. That's why you have the issues that we have prevalent now. Because we didn't do something about the out-of-school children in the last 15, 20, 30 years. They've grown up to be adults now. And the only thing they know how to do is hold or wield a machete and have guns and demand that we pay something to them. Mm-hmm. We're doing worse now. Because, in life, shall I say, the disparities between each group just begins to get more obvious and more obvious. That's what happens. You just keep growing apart. Yeah. And with that distance increasing, it just shows you the volume of hate crime that can come into play. By that group that sees the very large disparity between them and the other side, the amount of crime that they will need to commit will get more heinous. And they would have lost their soul and their minds to whatever situation they have found themselves. We would just be in a time bomb. That's what we'll just find ourselves in an explosive bomb, just like the Life Builders Initiative organization has mentioned here. And, then we have leaders. I will just leave the judiciary out of it, but not because I think they're any special, but because I don't think that they can do anything immediately. But the people who I think have this at the front burner, who should have it at the front burner, are the legislators and the executive. They don't seem to realize that aside fixing now that we want them to fix, we need them to put in place things that will take care of the future. And if there's anything that is a big problem for the future of Nigeria, it is the number of out-of-school children that we have. if you can't get these ones educated, and let's not even talk about the kind of education they're even getting. That's a different ballgame entirely. But let's even get them into school and getting some basic education. It doesn't seem to be. I don't see that drive. I don't see that that desire to get that as if they realize that this is a big problem and we need to sort it out. You have 10 million now. I can assure you that if we don't do anything about this, and you're looking in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, what we'll have will be 13, 14 million children out of school. And the elites have always felt that somehow that they're shielded away from this. Those of us who are not elites, we're scared. Like Dr. Sheji was saying, he was driving a second class Mercedes Benz. But for the people who are down and out, that seemed like luxury to them. So I'm just imagining for those of us who were neither, in fact, we just escaped poverty just a bit, slightly. So maybe they might just see you looking nice. You don't even have a car, but you look nice.
Come and share that niceness.
That niceness. So I'm afraid for my life.
When they kidnap, now they demand 20 million because they think you're part of it. They don't care.
I'm afraid for my life. And therefore, I'm wondering, the legislators I have representing me, the executives I have who have asked to help run the system for me, are they considering that fact? And the only answer I get with that is no. But Emmanuel,
I think they are considering it themselves.
For 5 hours.
No. The 5 hours is just 5 hours budgeted for waste of time. I tell you. So that one, it can even be 10. Anything I have said it. That you see, we have a spectrum of political parties there in the National Assembly. But anytime you touch on the core of their being there, which is, you see, we are going to the Emmy was saying, cut your salary, all this and that. No, all of them will be a party that has no name. Nobody has designated it to be anything. But it's a political party that all of them belong to. That is it. So the issue is Nigeria has so far degenerated into each family stay. Perhaps if you have friends outside, now they will also join you because of this egocentrism. Now, you are talking about out of school children, a potential danger. Why I say they know is that you remember whether it was Dino Melaye or whoever who started talking about it in the National Assembly and said that there will be a time that somebody cannot come outside with his car and all that, that a lot of people will come after you. You also remember that Professor Andre Femini was here and he mentioned that even as he is driving, he is afraid.
Yeah.
Because some people could come after him and say, in fact, it's not only you that is born to drive this car you are driving. Let them also have a taste of it. It's not as if the danger is not very glaring to Nigerian elites. But that urge of selfishness is still there. Anything that everybody wants to prepare his own empire. So when he might have gone, others from his stock will continue. And then when you are continuing and these people check up and down that frustration is only their own lot, they will not allow you now. I always say it, a man in a family that is rich, one man, no, is not rich. Because everybody will look at it, however he's making this money. In fact, let him be feeding us. So anytime they come, you count, and is the money, is it water? It must finish. That is why it's good for empowering everybody so that you remove your hand. But you see, it's a very serious danger out of school children.
All right, we got your thoughts on that.
Well, I just think that Nigerians we do not look back and review history of our past leaders. And so they carry on like others, like our leaders in the past. Like President Azikiwe. This thing happened about 4 years ago. The statutes in his house alone if you estimate it today, the cost should be able to build a standard secondary school. That statute, the people went there and cut the head of that statute, and that is materialism for you, and that is gone. And when the compound was shown, it was trees and so on, reptiles that are taking over the place.
Taking over.
And that is what it is. The difference between the West, between the West and us, is developing manpower. But that is the truth. Of all the factor inputs, manpower is the best to develop. And once you develop manpower, you have developed all other infrastructure. But we are interested in the number of cars we have, the number of flyovers we have, and all that. That will last for only some time. And so our people, that is what they do. So you have fleets of cars. And then in the next 5 years, those cars are outdated. And then, in fact, these cars are not even produced here. So we're even enriching other
countries.
Clients. So in Nigeria here, we are not looking at history. We are not looking at what happened in the past. We are still carrying on as if nothing happens. But the costs and the challenges are here. As a matter of fact, what they do now is, okay, I'll take my children abroad. But a lot of us in the next 10 years will find out that we have lost a lot of our children to foreign lands. Yep. And that place is not even better from what we are seeing. So I think it's better to begin to rethink and develop manpower, develop children, especially educationally, so that we can be, all of us can sleep with our two eyes closed.
All right, got your thoughts there. Okay, go ahead.
Our politicians, whatever they are doing, I do not all, but the majority of them, they are very conscious of their actions. They are deliberately doing it. They have this mentality that if you have the people uneducated, you have them poor, you will be able to manipulate them the way you want. And that is the belief in them. But they are forgetting the fact that these people you are manipulating, one day they will ask themselves certain questions. How long shall we continue this? And they will want to come after you. I have seen certain politicians who are coming just like this one said now. Let us vote this money. Let us give it to out of school children and all that. I've heard some of them. Based on what I do for the Nigeria state as a Nigerian, considering the level of illiteracy, I'm an expert in that field too. So I discovered that I need to help my fellow Nigerians. I went to some of these politicians, sir. This is what you can do. It will cost you less. Forget what you are going to pay because I am doing it for the love of my people. Just with a little sum of money, you will set up this. I will begin to educate your people. I bet you some of these people will come back thanking you. You know the question someone will ask? Say, how will the people ask I'm going to know about this one now? So they believe that you just buy a drum, you begin to beat it at the folk junction for people to see that you are doing one thing. That is what they believe. And another one asked me, am I their father that I'm going to do this? Why I have a lot of projects in my hand. When I finish doing them, maybe we can consider. Just imagine the mentality. Yeah. I now told one, I say it's like, sir, we are setting a time bomb, but a time will come that these people will feel that they are useless somehow. You don't have need to take care of them and all that because you are not a parent. A day will come. They will want to ask you, I think you are going to that place. Certain money are being given to. Where is our own? Mm-hmm. So what will you do? They say, okay, have come here to ask him questions, Abi. I say, no, I just raised this one. Don't be offended. So majority of the Nigerian politicians are very conscious of these things. You take your children abroad, are they going to stay there forever? The answer, one day they will come home. And there will be people planning and waiting that when the son or the daughter comes, we are going to show them pepper. You see, they are buying bulletproof cars now. You say you are representing people. You are a government of the people.
You're representing them.
One that is voted by the people. But you cannot drive through the people without a bulletproof car. You cannot live among your people, your own community, your own compound without security men everywhere. Are you free? I even see there as people who are in bondage. Because if you cannot relate with people freely, you are in bondage. And you think that you are doing one thing. No, for me, let them change this mentality. You are not deceiving Nigeria. You are deceiving yourself. When you enter meeting for 5 hours,
You talk about buying Toyota 2020 brand and all that. You came after, you talk to journalists, you say, let this money be used for this. And in your constituency, there is no evidence of such move. And you go because you felt that you will be videoed and it will be aired everywhere. And you think that you are deceiving Nigerians. You are deceiving yourself. Because these people you are seeing today, they are also asking questions. Knowledge is increasing. Questions is increasing. People wants to know what their money is being used for. I think I've said it here some time ago where House of Reps member is not there anymore. There was a time we discovered that this man, you are always Abuja, London and all that, you have a compound. Immediately we had information that he was around, went to him. We are about 3. We entered the house. Sir, we'll not be seeing you. You'll be representing us. Where are you representing us from? Abuja and all that. He said, we have issue. I say that thing that be given, your constituency, we calculated it, we show him. I said, that is what we came for this day. He said, for what? We said, it's our money. We wanted this thing. He thought we were joking. He said, sir, whatever you are getting, he said, get us arrested, do it because there are people who are waiting. So he will not do anything. We heard him roast speech. He begged that he's going to pay us on certain money. We said, no. Use this money for us. This time will come where everybody will begin to hold their people responsible. The other time I saw some people trying to beat their senator in the north for buying a new car. That since you were elected, we've not seen you. All you could come home with is a brand new vehicle. And we are here suffering. And we voted for you. And he ran back to Abuja. So a time we could begin to live in that Abuja, in a brick house or whatever houses, they will remain there because the people who want whatever belongs to them be given to them.
All right. Let me finally get to Dr. C.H. to wrap up on this.
Well, it's just saying the same thing. Is we need to, like I think you said, it's maybe, I don't know how we can do it so that the little ones will see that there's truth in that. And that is why, quite unfortunately, this crop of elites hate educationists, hate the educational system.
Yeah.
But if they were wise, they should support lecturers and teachers to raise a new generation of Nigerians whose value systems are right. Because the way it is today, if we continue like this, they should think for their children. It's pathetic. Amy mentioned it here, and I have experienced it. I have been in university. 2011, a third year law student from Ikwere met me and said, "Sir, I want to pack out. I want to go." Why?
Why?
He couldn't pay school fees. This young man said he was an orphan. He's an orphan. He is second son in the house, but he was taking care of his senior and others. How he will go to where they are building. This is Ikwere boy. I'm saying it on radio. He will go to where they are building to struggle and then feed his people and come to school. Because how do I notice him? I've not been seeing him. I said, my friend, I've not seen him in my class. They walk him out. The other students they begged. Later he met me. So that thing broke my heart. The little I had to begin to share my salary until that young man went to law school.
Wow.
No, and I had more instances like that. I'm not saying this, I'm saying that shows you the situation
as it is.
This is Ikwere. At that time, Ikwere man was governor. You know when I see people talking, my people should be governor. He just say he don't know anything. I said Ikwere man was the governor at that time, as Ikwere man is the governor now. And this situation, and there are worse cases. And our students are suffering. You think when these ones come out, they're going to be showed that patriotism they're talking about, and they see you wasting money. They see you, some houses today, you have 10 brand new cars. They see you building houses you can't sustain without government income. Our politicians should please rethink. But let's review the value system. And if we can, it's education. But it's too bad